Next one's for all you CarMax shoppers who just want to buy a car your way.
Wanna check some cars out in person? Wanna look some more from your house? Okay.
Want to pretend you know about engines?
Nah, I'll just chat with CarMax online instead.
Wanna get pre-qualified from your couch? Woo! Wanna get that car?
Hey, SAP!
You wanna do it your way.
Want to drive? CarMax.
RingCentral will completely transform the way you work. It gives you built-in AI across all your business conversations. Your phone system has an AI receptionist that answers calls 24/7. Your video meetings have AI that takes notes instantly. Even your contact center has AI, so you can help customers faster. It all comes together in one reliable platform for effortless AI communications. See for yourself at ringcentral.com. RingCentral, voice of your business.
What's up, Dub Nation? Do you want to get cash back on Warriors gear? All you have to do is sign up at Rakuten.com/Warriors, where you can earn 10% cash back in store and online at Warriors Shop. Once you're a member, shop your favorite stores like Fanatics and Ticketmaster and watch the cash back add up in your account. Rakuten is the most rewarding way for you to shop and maximize your savings. Join Rakuten for free today at Rakuten.com/Warriors or download the Rakuten app. That's RAKUTEN.
All members of Dub Nation know 2 essential truths. 1, the Warriors have the best point guard in the history of the game. And 2, the very best planes in the sky are United. New planes are joining the United fleet every week, decked out with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, and power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to fit everyone's carry-on, or giant foam fingers. Download the United app and book your next trip today. United Airlines, proud to be the official airline of the Golden State Warriors.
The lights, the crowd, the moment. When the Warriors take the floor, greatness follows. At Cash Creek Casino Resort, every moment shines. Feel the rush as the reels spin. Breathe in our serene spa. Savor each bite in our award-winning steakhouse. And recharge in the comfort of our luxurious hotel. Cash Creek Casino Resort, proud partner of your Golden State Warriors. Please play responsibly.
To Curry, pump fake, flyby, 3-ball, got it with the buzzer sounding!
You've been listening to Golden State Warriors basketball on the Warriors Radio Network. Presented by United Airlines. For tickets, visit Warriors.com or call 888-GSW-HOOP.
Don't you wish you were here?
This broadcast was presented by Bet365, where winning is everything. Download the Bet365 app and lock in your picks before the game begins. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in select states only.
Durant left side, back to Şengün, inside, layup is up and good. They score with 11.1 to go. Steve Kerr says play on. Warriors down 117-116. Curry guarded by Thompson. Draymond will screen. Curry gets Smith Jr. Dribbles left, 2 seconds, takes a 3 off the dribble. It's up, it's no good. The buzzer sounds, the ball game's over. Draymond wanted Podziemski to come up and screen. The Warriors have lost a heartbreaker here. Steve Kerr did not call time, but you can't argue with that. You don't want the Rockets to set their defense. They're top 10 in offense and defense. And the final score will be Houston 117 and Golden State 116.
Welcome in. It's Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you live from Chase Center after one of the more thrilling games the Warriors have played in quite a long time. And let me just tell you off the very, very rip, it's no coincidence that the Warriors play a highly entertaining and fun basketball game on the night of Steph Curry's return. And it's not a coincidence because Steph is the single most entertaining player in the NBA, and he showed that today, playing in his first game since January 30th. We're talking about more than 2 months. since he last played in an NBA game, and he's doing it against the Houston Rockets. His primary defender all night, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, and Amen Thompson. He comes off the bench. He plays 26 minutes, and he scores 29 points and nearly wills the Warriors to a victory over the Houston Rockets. A really good Houston team, by the way. Not a team that I'm picking to come out of the West, but a really good Houston team nonetheless, and the Warriors were right there. They were down by double digits in the fourth quarter. They were down by 14 with 7 minutes left. They go on a crazy run, and they nearly win this game. They took a lead with 20 seconds left, and they ultimately fall as Şengün scores down low on Podziemski. And then Curry's three just before the buzzer misses, and DeAnthony Melton's putback comes maybe about 0.4 of a second too late, and the Warriors ultimately lose 117-116. What a game for the Warriors, and it's just, I'm seeing it already come in on the YouTube chat. I'm seeing it on the text line, and if you want to join the conversation, feel free to do so. You can join me. It's Mark Randy with you on Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game, 888-957-9570 to call in. That is also the number to text, and you can also join the conversation on YouTube, youtube.com/957 The Game. I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm looking. Man, it's just fun to have Steph Curry back, and we've been treated to over a decade of high-level Steph Curry play. Of course, it's been a lot longer than a decade that he's been a Warrior. But, you know, we kind of changed our opinion on Steph, or Steph forced to change on opinion league-wide on him, you know, a little more than a decade now. And we've been treated to endless, incredible Steph Curry performances. We all know how good he is. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we all forgot what it's like. But 2+ months is a long time, and it was a really rough 2+ months for Warriors fans. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there are Warrior fans out there that are going home happy that this game was a loss, but I tell you that they're happy and they're content that they got to see Steph do what Steph did tonight. That's not a moral victory kind of thing. That's just an I'm entertained watching basketball again kind of thing. Because we can be honest with ourselves, what the last 2+ months have been at times for the Warriors was at times like nails on a chalkboard. It was difficult to watch and difficult to enjoy. And win or lose, you know that Steph's going to put on a show, or at least you know that he's going to put every ounce of himself into putting on a show for you, and he did tonight with 29 points. He was not anywhere near what he normally is in the first quarter, and that's totally understandable because he hadn't played in over 2 months. But he was really good in the second quarter, had a classic Curry flurry in the third with like 3 incredibly difficult shots in rapid succession. And then he checked in with a little less than 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Warriors down by double digits, and it's no surprise that they go on a big run when Steph Curry checks in. In the fourth quarter, when Steph was on the floor, the Warriors outscored the Rockets 22-11. He checked in. They were down 12. He brought them all the way back. He helped give them a lead, but ultimately Houston wins down the stretch. We got so much to get into. We're going to hear from Steph Curry himself, by the way, coming up. He addressed the media postgame. We will hear from Steph, about a 10-minute back and forth with the media here in Chase Center. That's coming up in a little bit, but we also got time for your calls and your texts, again at 888-957-9570. Let's go to the text line here really quick, because this kind of gets to what I was just talking about. The 415 chimes in. This is the Boxer and Gerson Work Injury Attorneys text line. The 415 writes, that was a fun game to watch and just incredibly grateful Steph Curry is still playing basketball. Would have wished for the win, but Warriors could have won at other points throughout the game. Have no problem with the Dubs not calling a timeout on their final play. Şengün continues to be one of my least favorite players to watch. Grateful we watched the Dubs and not the Rockets. Cheers, Grandy. That's from Ben in San Francisco. Ben, appreciate the text. Yeah, that was just an incredibly fun game. And win or lose, it is refreshing because there's been a lot of Warrior games of late, and most of them have been losses where it's the only positive we can say about it at times is, well, at least the Warriors fought, and at least they didn't give up. And I'm not really blaming any individual player necessarily, but it's just the nature of what of what this team has been without Steph, without Jimmy. At times, not so much lately, but at times without Porzingis, without Melton, without Moody now for a gigantic chunk of the last number of weeks of the season as well. Man, it was just refreshing to watch Steph Curry play basketball. And I mean this when I say it. There's a number of amazing NBA players out there. SGA, who knows? He might win his second consecutive MVP. Maybe it's going to go to Wembanyama. Jokic is probably having the best season of his career, and it's likely not going to be an MVP year. And he might not even be a top 2 finisher in the MVP this season. Luka Doncic, who's out for the regular season and now is flying to Europe to get some treatment away from Laker team doctors, which is kind of interesting in and of itself. He's deserving of some MVP love. Jaylen Brown, for what he did with the Celtics before Jason Tatum got back, he's deserving of MVP love. He's been awesome. Cade Cunningham, before he went down with his lung injury, he was absolutely amazing. I'm sorry, I don't think there's a singular offensive force in basketball still at the age of 38 like Steph Curry. Stephen Curry is such a unique offensive weapon, and what he does on the floor for the Warriors, it is night and day when he's on the court and when he's not. This fourth quarter, I think, is a perfect example of Steph's impact, because we can point to the points scored for Steph in the fourth, and let me just read his full stat line before I continue. Steph had 29 points. He played 26 minutes. He was 11 of 21 from the field, 5 of 10 from downtown, 2 of 3 from the line, had 4 assists and a couple of rebounds, turned the ball over just once. But he, in the fourth quarter, scored 8 points on 3 of 5 shooting and 2 of 3 from downtown in the fourth quarter. He was awesome in the fourth. But more than just those 8 points, it's what happens when he's on the court. When Steph is on the court, and particularly when he's feeling it a bit, as he was really for the majority of the second half, it just changes the geometry of the court, and it changes the way defenses have to play. So you look at some of the individual big moments for the Warriors in that fourth quarter. Let me bring up the play-by-play log here. So Melton hit a big 3. He actually hit 2 big 3s in the fourth quarter. But both of them were the result of the Rockets having to chase around Stephen Curry. The second one, Melton was wide open in the left corner. It's because Steph was running baseline from the left corner to the opposite side of the court, and 2 defenders, because they're so worried about Steph and not letting him get open, both defenders, including the one supposed to be checking Melton, run with Steph. So Melton's wide open for an easy layup. I'm looking past all the scoring that Steph did in the fourth quarter. Way downtown from 32 feet with 2 guys in his face, hits a 3 to make it a 1-point game. He had the scoop layup from Draymond, got the Warriors within 1 as well earlier. You had a multiple GP2 cutting layups. Those cuts came off of the attention defenses were paying to Steph, including the Warriors' last points of the game. They have the ball with, 30 seconds left, down by 1. They need a bucket to take the lead. Draymond Green has the ball on the right short corner, kind of post extended on the right side of the floor. He gets the inbound pass there. He's kind of got his back to the basket looking for Steph, who's coming off of a couple of screens towards the right wing. Maybe they're trying to free him up for a 3, even though they only needed a 2. But a good Steph 3 look, you're never going to turn that down. But Houston, of course, they're not going to they're going to do their best to not let Steph touch the ball. So what happens? They double team Steph. He's off the ball, and he's well beyond the 3-point line, and they're sending 2 defenders his way to take him away. And what happens? GP2, an incredibly smart player, cuts backdoor off the ball, noticing the pressure and the attention Houston is putting on Steph, and it frees up GP2 for the backdoor cut. This is also where Draymond is so good. He can see all this happening in real time. He finds the cutting GP2 for a layup. Amen Thompson can't react quick enough. He goaltends GP2 shot. Warriors take the lead. Everything the Warriors are doing in that fourth quarter is through Stephen Curry. And he's 38 years old, and he's still having that kind of influence on the court. Not on a, every once in a while basis, on an every single possession basis. Every possession. Just go watch the way the Warriors get defended versus a good team like Houston that has the ability and the dogs and the athletes to not take Steph away, but to at least make life really difficult on him. And they made it difficult on him, but Steph is just so insanely good that he can still score 29 points in his first action in more than 2 months. Look at how a team like Houston defends Steph, and then look at how their defense works when Steph is off the floor. It is entirely different. The Warriors today, in the 26 minutes that Steph played, the Warriors were a plus 12. They were 12 points better than the Rockets when Steph was on the floor. That means in the 22 minutes that Steph rested, the Rockets were 13 points better than the Warriors. That's the difference of the ball game. Steph is still that good, and he's still that good after having more than 2 months off, which is just absolutely incredible what he was able to do. Now, there were some other issues for the Warriors in this game. Kristaps Porzingis, for example, had a really rough game. He scored, Porzingis scored just 9 points on 9 shots, was 3 of 9 from the field, did not make a 3, 0 for 3 from downtown. He fouled out early in the fourth quarter. The Warriors got into a major fouling issue in the third quarter, and it was almost single-handedly because of Porzingis. Porzingis pulled off something that I did not think was possible. He fouled out super early in the fourth quarter with 10:13 left in the fourth after not having a foul in the first half. He picked up 4 fouls in a span of 7 minutes of game time in the third quarter, and he personally got the Rockets into the bonus in the third quarter with 9 minutes left in the third quarter. They were shooting free throws for the rest of the game. Free throws actually turned out to be a +2 for the Warriors in this game, so it wasn't as bad as it maybe felt, but it was a big reason why the Rockets had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter. It was because of their ability to get to the free throw line in that third quarter, and Porzingis fouling out did not help the Warriors down the stretch. Şengün did a really good job down low against Porzingis. There were some ticky-tack fouls that seemed to go the Rockets' way at times, but a couple of the Porzingis fouls are just bad ones after defensive rebounds by the Rockets when they're 70 feet from their own basket and Porzingis is committing a foul when they're already in the bonus. That was just not smart play, and it got him into foul trouble, and it gave Houston some free points as well. So there were some issues. I'm not at all worried about the Porzingis and Steph Curry connection. One of the things I was looking out for today in this game was how do Steph and Porzingis look when they're all on the floor together. And frankly, it was hard to notice them on the floor together today. They did share the floor for a good chunk of time in this fourth quarter. I was tracking it earlier. Let's see, where is it? About 9 minutes Steph shared with Porzingis today. It wasn't anything special. In fact, I'm having a hard time remembering, a Curry to Porzingis assist or Porzingis getting an open look because of the gravity of Steph and Curry. There are, of course, some moments. This is also the first time they've ever played in any kind of competitive fashion on the same team together, not even in scrimmages. All of Steph's scrimmages have not included Kristaps Porzingis. And Steph, of course, has been hurt since Porzingis has been a Warrior, the entire time that Porzingis has been a Warrior. He got hurt in late January, and the trade for Porzingis happened in early February, about 2 months ago now. So this is entirely new to these guys, and that's why these last handful of games for the Warriors are valuable if you are trying to accomplish something this year, because you can use the runway of the rest of this regular season, which is now only 4 games, and you're likely only going to see Steph in 3 of those max because there is a back-to-back coming up later on this week, and we'll talk more about the schedule ahead. But you're likely only going to see Steph in at most 3 of those games. So you do have a little bit of time to get used to the Porzingis and Steph connection. We didn't see much of it today, but a lot of that is because of the fouls for Porzingis in that third quarter. He just never really got into any kind of a rhythm in this game. Finished with just 9 points and really was outperformed by the opposing bigs for Houston today. Şengün had his way with Porzingis, and Şengün had 24 points and 6 rebounds, 7 assists, including the game-winning bucket over Podziemski. Jabari Smith, another big for Houston. He's more of a, at least on the offensive end, a threat from the outside. Made 5 of his threes, had 23 points. KD got whatever he wanted in the mid-range. In this one, he had 31 points on 17 shots. Incredible efficiency for KD in this one as well, but it was Şengün specifically who I think pretty thoroughly outplayed Porzingis. Porzingis defensively on the ball against a crafty, pretty strong big like that. I don't think it's going to go over that well. Where Porzingis is at his best defensively, I think is as a roaming big off the ball to come from the weak side and swat somebody else. But when you're defending the Rockets and they are throwing 3 7-footers at you, one of them's KD, the other one is the incredibly athletic Jabari Smith Jr., you're kind of by default forced to put Porzingis on Şengün, and that's not a very good matchup. I also think the Porzingis foul trouble might have maybe forced Steve Kerr's hand down the stretch. I wonder what Warrior fans think about the last possession of the game defensively, where the Rockets are down 1 with 16 seconds left after they call timeout, and the Warriors put out there on the floor Steph Curry, Brandon Podziemski, DeAnthony Melton, Gary Payton II, and Draymond Green. Against that really big Houston front line, would you think to put in Guy Santos, or hell, even Charles Bassey, who made his Warriors debut tonight and I think showed some good things? Do you trust a guy like that you hardly know, at least that you haven't seen play much, if at all, in the NBA? But you were awfully small, and part of the reason why Şengün got the look that he did was because KD, with the help of a screen, drove to the left, drawing some help defense. He then dumps it off in the paint to Şengün. Podziemski, not his fault, but he's forced to come over and help from the weak side, gets in front of Şengün, but there's nothing Podziemski can do against the 7-footer Şengün, and he just scores over him. So if you have a little bit more size, does that change things? It's certainly a possibility. And then the other part of that down the stretch was after you do give up that bucket, do you call a timeout or not? Because you did have a timeout to use. Steve Kerr tends to like, especially when Steph is on the floor, to let the Warriors kind of thrive in that chaos. Because you might say, well, you don't even have a play called. That's true, but the defense can't get set on the other side. So it's kind of a give and take. Is the timeout more beneficial to you than it is beneficial to Houston? Do you want Houston to set their elite defense, one of the best defenses in the NBA? That would help them. The timeout might help you get more organized as well, but it is kind of a give and a take. I don't mind Steve Kerr not calling the timeout. That's the way that he tends to work, and it has worked a lot in the Warriors' favor over the years. But I probably would have considered putting in some more size defensively to counteract Şengün and KD and Jabari Smith Jr. down the stretch, because that might have had an impact in the game at the very end. But, man, still, it's hard to leave this game feeling anything other than, man, it's just incredible to watch Steph play basketball. Warriors lose this game 117-116 is the final. They're now 36-42. They are guaranteed to finish below 500 this season, even if they win their final 4 games. We'll talk more again about the schedule coming up. For now, though, let's go out to the phone lines. I know a lot of you guys want to weigh in, so let's get out to them. If you want to join, it's 888-957-9570. Again, 888-957-9570. That is also Boxer Gerson Work Injury Attorneys text line. Up first is Eric in Millbrae. He wants to break down this Warrior loss and the return of Steph Curry. What's up, Eric? You're on Warriors Wrap Up. It's Mark Randy with you on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, as you mentioned, just great to have Curry back out there, man. It was kind of a barren there for a while, and you just see the excitement and how electrifying it is when he's out there. And all the morons who were saying to shut him down for the season, let's just play for the picks and lottery tank. They don't know what the hell they're talking about, because you just see why he's out there. It's a long shot. They're even going to maybe even if they get out of the play-in, OKC's probably going to wax them up pretty good, probably. But, hey, I'd rather have Curry out there and potential playoff games than nothing, because after the season's over, we got nothing left besides boring Giants baseball, yawn. I have no interest in that. So it's great to see him back out there. Love that he has the competitor in the heart, that he wants to be out there even in a tough season. A couple of things there, as you mentioned. First off, the ref missed a bogus. I know Curry's used to it, but now you got to call that the put back there in the lane. Sir Thompson fouled him. That should have been a 3-point play for Curry. That was a killer. And I think that would have given him a 1-point lead there. And then obviously on the final play, I want to get your take on it. Where was Draymond? I know he screened, but you leave Curry with 2 Rocket defenders on him. Who was it supposed to be, Draymond or Potts come out the screen? How the hell do you leave Curry with 2 Rockets bigs on him without anybody trying to free him up to get a cleaner look than he did? That's just inexcusable, especially with Porzingis fouling out. I don't know what the hell that was about. Is that more on Kerr, or is that somebody missed an assignment? That shouldn't happen. Curry should have had a much better look to win the game there, even though that almost written down still went in. But still, regardless, I think if he has a better look, obviously, I think he knocks that down. So I don't know who missed that. That's a mental breakdown you can't allow when you know he's going to go for the game winner there in the dagger. And he has 2 Rockets in his face that really kind of impede his final shot. But all in all, it's great to have him back out there. And this final stretch here is going to be really fun to watch. And hopefully Porzingis is going to be integrated with him, because I think they're going to give teams a lot of problems. And let's face it, even though LKC is the best team in the league, for some reason they always struggle against the Warriors. So at least if the Warriors luckily get out of the play-in, OKC tends to have issues with the Warriors for some reason. They always play tight, close games. So, hey, let's make a run here, guys. And it's fun to see, because Curry's 101. There's never going to be another guy like him. And let's soak it in as many games as we can see him play out there. Thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Eric. And you're wondering about Porzingis. I just think it's pretty simple that Şengün Şengün controlled that matchup tonight. Şengün's a hell of a player. And Porzingis was just never able to get into a rhythm. In terms of the last play, it's interesting because, all right, Şengün scores down low on Podziemski. The Rockets take the lead. Steph's bringing the ball up. They got, when Steph first inbounds the ball, 11 seconds left. He gets to half court with 7.5 seconds left. He's just to the right of mid-court, right as he crosses half-court. Amen Thompson picking him up a few steps inside the half-court line. GP2's on the corner on the ball side where Steph is on that right corner. Melton's running to the left corner. Podziemski's left wing, and Draymond is kind of top of the key. Draymond, it looks like, is signaling for multiple other Warriors to set the screen for Steph. And I would guess why he's doing that is because the Rockets are smart. They know that Draymond probably is the best screen setter for Steph specifically, because they just have that kind of connection. And they put Jabari Smith on him. Jabari Smith Jr., who's 7-footer, got crazy length and athleticism, and is pretty quick laterally. In terms of a switch, that's the guy the Rockets would feel most comfortable switching on to Steph. So if you're the Warriors, you want someone other than Draymond to set that screen. And Draymond, it looks like, is pointing first to GP2 in the right corner, but GP2 is pointing back towards the other side of the floor, and then Draymond briefly points to Podziemski, who's got Şengün matched up on him. And if you're the Warriors, that is the switch that you want. Now, it's hard because let's say Podziemski runs over to set the screen. Jabari Smith is going to just naturally switch off of Draymond and follow Podziemski, so it might not have mattered, but it did look like there was a little bit of confusion in terms of who was going to set the screen for Steph. It ultimately ended up being Draymond, because I think by the time that he was getting his point across that somebody else should set the screen, it was too late. And there's only a few seconds left, and somebody has to go, more than a few, but 5 seconds left by the time they realized who was going to set the screen, that Draymond just said, you know what, we're running out of time, I'll go do it. And what happened after that is you have the two probably best defenders on the floor against Steph that are doubling him as a result. Draymond sets the screen, and Jabari switches on to him after a bit of pushing and grabbing with Draymond. Amen Thompson recovers and kind of shuts down Steph's lane back to the right, and he's forced to try to take a really tough step back over Jabari Smith. And pretty amazing he even hit iron, because that's a tall 7-footer with an even longer wingspan who can jump out the gym, and he still got a decent look off. But that to me seemed like some confusion or miscommunication or people who were unsure who should set the screen. And that is kind of what happens when you don't call a timeout. But again, there is a little bit of chaos on both sides. It just probably felt like the Rockets were a little bit more prepared for that chaos than the Warriors were. So this is probably a moment where hindsight's 20/20. If it worked, you say, great decision, Steve Kerr. You didn't call a timeout, and it worked. But now that we know what didn't work, it looks like maybe a timeout could have been beneficial. Because indeed, if you just watch Draymond on that play, he's first pointing to GP2, and then as GP2 points back, he then quickly points to Pods, but he then realizes there's not much time left. I'll just go set the screen myself. But that plays into exactly what Houston wants, and they get the switch with Jabari Smith Jr. on to Steph, and then it's going to take individual greatness to get it done, and Steph is certainly capable of that, but that's a tall task. And a lot to ask Steph to get that done over the 7-footer with some help from one of the best defenders, that particularly Steph defenders in Amen Thompson. So not great execution on that final possession for the Warriors, there's no doubt. But it did end up resulting in a Steph Curry look, and you'll take that, of course, a lot more than anything else. Warriors ultimately lose this game 117-116. We are going to hear from Steph Curry coming up in just a little bit, but for now, let's keep the phone calls going at 888-957-9570. Chardol is in Fremont and wants to weigh in. What's up, Chardol? You're on Warriors Wrap-Up.
Hi, Mark, Randy. I'm a big fan of you. I tune into 95.7 game after every Warriors game. As the Houston Rockets dominate the Golden State Warriors by final score 117-116 from Chase Center in downtown San Francisco, California, we got outplayed and out-hustled by an impressive Houston Rockets squad consisting of Kevin Durant, Reed Shepard, Amen Thompson, Alfred Şengün, and Josh Okogie. In Game 3 of this 5-game homestand, and they extend their losing streak to 4 straight games. It was great calling the Warriors wrap up, and
Chardol,
have a great rest.
Chardol, let me ask you. You think the Warriors got out hustled tonight?
I think the Rockets in the end. I think that the Rockets played a good game in the end, and I think the Warriors have to break out of this four game break out of this losing streak. But it was great calling the Warriors wrap up, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, Chardol. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the call as always, and your comments. I don't think the Warriors got out hustled. I mean, that's not what happened in this game. The Warriors committed just 10 turnovers in this game. They forced 14 Rockets turnovers. They turned those 14 turnovers into 23 points on the other end. They got out in second chance points. They did that better than Houston. They had 7 offensive rebounds to Houston's 8, but they turned those chances into points every single time. They scored 14 second chance points. It felt like at times Houston was dominating in the paint, but it was relatively even. It was 54-52 in favor of Houston. This more so was Houston, I think, gritting it out at times, specifically with Şengün. It was KD in the mid-range. It was the Warriors unable to get a stop in that third quarter, specifically when the Rockets scored 37 points. But I don't at all knock the Warriors' energy or effort levels. This felt like a playoff kind of atmosphere. I tweeted it out pregame, or not pregame, but before Steph checked in, because Steph came off the bench and checked in for the first time with 4:54 left. So we played the final 5 minutes of the first quarter. The first 7 minutes were the Warriors without Steph, and it was as loud, as energetic, as into the game as I have heard and seen the Chase Center crowd in a really, really long time. And again, it's because, not necessarily because they felt like this overwhelming sense of optimism that the Warriors were going to win a playoff series. It was simply because they're just waiting to see Steph Curry play. And that just lifts everybody's spirits. Steve Kerr the last couple of days has been talking about how Steph just changes the vibe. And, of course, he's been around the team. But when you know that Steph is going to play, it just gives everybody a different sense of confidence. They get a certain level of swagger. And that transformed and transferred, I should say, to the crowd. It felt that way even before Steph Curry checked in. And as a result, the team played that way. Like, I don't think they got out-hustled at all in this game. It was just a couple of execution moments well executed by the Rockets down the stretch. The Warriors mostly dominated down the stretch. They went on a 24-9 run at one point in the fourth quarter before the Şengün bucket ended the game, essentially. But they went on a 24-9 run to erase a 14-point deficit, take a 1-point lead before Şengün ultimately won the game, and then Steph Curry's 3 at the buzzer rimmed out, and the Warriors ultimately lose 117-116. But Steph returned. And man, he looked really, really good in his return. He played 26 minutes off the bench, 29 points, made 5 of his 10 threes, was 11 of 21 from the field. And, I mean, he did not have the best first quarter. He scored 3 points in the first on 4 shots, 1 of 4 from the field, 1 of 3 from downtown. Those misses in the first quarter, he either got blocked or they missed badly. Not unexpected, like you hadn't played for more than 2 months. Like, take your time to get the rust off, Steph. But then the second quarter was really good. He had a classic Curry flurry in the third quarter. He hit this crazy driving, running, 1-foot push shot off the glass. This was the one that I think our caller, Eric, thought should have been an and one on Ahmed Thompson. Steph certainly thought it should have been an and one. Didn't get the call. That was in the third quarter. A couple of possessions later, drove past KD on the top of the key and left KD in the dust. KD, I think, thought he was going to pick up the dribble and maybe take a step-back jumper. He kind of gave him the little hezzy, and KD shifted his weight, and Steph used that against him and drove right past him, left KD behind him. But then Şengün comes over to help, and Steph hits the floating scoop shot teardrop plus the foul on Şengün as he's on the ground celebrating the and one, hits the classic Steph shimmy celebration. And then a couple of possessions later, he hit his patented left wing sidestep three-pointer, brought the Warriors within 4. As he's running down the floor, down the court to the other end, it looked to me like he looked over to the NBC broadcast team. Analyst tonight was Reggie Miller, who, of course, is one of Steph's favorite players growing up. And he said, "I'm back." And it's the classic Steph I'm back moment. Remember in the playoffs in Portland way back when, I believe that was 2016 playoffs, when he returns in Portland and he scores a record-breaking number of points in overtime to win that game after he had missed an extended stretch that postseason, and he turned again after hitting a 3 in clutch time in that game and voiced "I'm back" as he runs back down the other end. Steph was feeling it, and that was a classic Curry flurry in that moment as well, and he brought the Warriors back. And then he checked out to begin the fourth. The lead balloons to 14. Steph comes back in, and in the final seconds they take a lead, but then ultimately Houston scores again to win the game, and they walk off winners 117-116 as the Warriors fall to 36 and 42. Okay, time for a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Steph Curry, plus a whole lot more. More time for your calls and your texts as well as the Dubs fall. Again, final score 117-116. But Steph Curry returns, and man, did he look good. More time to break things down when we come back. Mark Randy with you live from Chase Center on Warriors Wrap-Up. Back with more next on 95.7 The Game.
What's your financial future look like? At Pettinelli Financial Partners, we help you shape it. Whether you're planning for retirement, buying a home, or saving for something special, our professionals are here to provide clear guidance and smart strategies. Visit PettinelliFP.com today and take the first step toward a more secure financial future. The financial consultants at Pettinelli Financial Partners are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Stratos Wealth Partners, a registered investment advisor. Stratos and Pettinelli are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at Amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now it's your last chance on select Sleep Number mattresses. Take 30 to 40% off top-rated beds. Shop now for a limited time. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
He's the best interview in the Bay Area.
He looked like Steph Curry always has, so he still got it. I mean, I think the biggest thing when you're 37 is maintaining the level over the course of 82 games.
And he joins Willard and Dibbs every week during the NBA season.
We have a blueprint that everybody's feeling confident with.
Steve Kerr is presented by Great Clips. In sports, success is about team effort, and the same is true for your hair. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Decisions determine results. So which path do I want to take? Help people in need or stand on the sidelines watching? Worry about how to pay for school or have my education paid for? Push myself and learn new skills or stay the same? My decision is to serve part-time with the Army National Guard, and my results will be life-changing. What will you decide? Go to NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Sponsored by the California Army National Guard. Aired by the California Broadcasters.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote.
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026. Taxes, fees, extra.
Struggling with social isolation? Chances are you're not alone. Well, maybe you are, but you don't have to be. Introducing Dinner with Mom. Just one meal may help increase happiness and restore your sense of belonging. Side effects may include taking home leftovers and unsolicited relationship advice. Do not attempt if you're allergic to unconditional love. Call your doctor if conversations last more than 4 hours. Don't wait. Ask your doctor if Dinner with Mom is right for you. Brought to you by El Camino Health. Together heals.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM and HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station and the home of the Golden State Warriors and Valkyries. Always live on the free Odyssey app and now coming to you live from the Laughing Monk Studios.
Steph, guarded by Easton in transition. Screen set, now Steph drives left, stop, step back 3 on the way, good! It's a 4-point game with 97 seconds left in the third. Curry will accelerate. Steph across midcourt. Over to Melton. Pass to Spencer. He'll dribble in. Pass to the wing. Draymond. Handoff. Steph Curry. It's a 3. It's money in the bank. 109-104. Steph has 24 points.
Now back to Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Oh, man. Welcome back. It's Warriors wrap-up here on 95.7 The Game. Steph Curry was born to play basketball and to wow crowds. At times, it sounds like Tim Roy was born to call Steph Curry playing basketball, and it is great to have that combo back here on 95.7 The Game. Tim Roy calling Steph Curry playing basketball for the Warriors. It is a match made in heaven, and Steph was great tonight. Tim Roy, those highlights you just heard, great describing the action as well. Warriors ultimately lose 117-116, but Steph came back, his first game in more than 2 months, and I don't know, like, if this is how a lot of Warrior fans felt. I was looking at, we do a Take It to the Bank prediction every pregame show on Warriors Live, and it's where I give you a pick that I think is going to work, that's going to happen in this game. And today, I gave you Guy Santos over 12.5 points, and he scored 15. That was a good pick by me. Guy scored like 8 points in the first 2 minutes of this game, and I felt like it was going to be an easy one. He didn't score a lot after that, but he still ultimately went over. But I was thinking long and hard about Steph's numbers in this game. Do I think he's going to score like 24 points? Is he going to make more than 3.5 threes in this game, which I think is what the number was set on? And I sat there and I said, you know what, I just don't think I can say that, because he hasn't played in over 2 months. There's no way that he's going to go out and drop 28 or 29, right? Like, that's just impossible. Even how good Steph is, that just can't happen. Not against this defense. Amen Thompson and Jabari Smith Jr., like, they're going to make life hell on Steph, right? So maybe I'm just an idiot for thinking that way and for doubting Steph's greatness, but I felt like this was a really big challenge. And if you ask him, he would say, well, this was challenging. But he scored 29 points, not like it was nothing. He had to work really hard for it, but he got rid of the rust really early, and he scored 29 points in this game and made 5 threes. And it wasn't like a volume game. It's not like he scored 29 on 27 shots. 11 of 21, better than 50% from the field, and 5 of 10 from downtown. Man, Steph was so good in this game, and it is awesome to have him back. How about this from the Boxer and Gerson Work Injury Attorneys text line? The 808 says, I think if Steph plays this way, I think we'll have a chance to win the play-in game no matter who we play. 808, I think that's the confidence that Steph gives, whether it's the Blazers or whether it's the Clippers. And by the way, tonight did officially lock up the Warriors not catching the Blazers. The Blazers were idle today, but the Warriors lost. The Warriors now 4 games behind the Blazers with 4 to play, and the Blazers have the tiebreaker. So the Blazers, no matter what happens, even if they go 0-4 and the Warriors go 4-0, and spoiler alert, neither of those are likely to happen, but even if they do happen, the Blazers will finish ahead of the Warriors, and they are still briefly, or very, very small chance, still alive in terms of catching the Clippers. The Clippers won today. They beat the Kings. They're now 40-38. They are also 4 games ahead of the Warriors with 4 to play. However, if the Clippers go 0-4 in their Final 4, and the Warriors go 4-0 in their Final 4, they will finish with the same record, and by virtue of the Clippers going 0-4 and the Warriors going 4-0, the Warriors will win the tiebreaker with the Clippers, because that means they would beat the Clippers in the head-to-head game. They'd finish the regular season series at 2 games apiece, and as a result of the Warriors winning their Final 4 games, which are all division games, they would also jump the Clippers in the second tiebreaker, which is division record. So if the Warriors win out and the Clippers win out, or they lose out, I should say, the Warriors will finish as the 9 seed. But any singular result going against the Warriors, either Clippers wins or Warriors losses, any one of those things happening the rest of the way, and the Warriors are the 10. So it's not 100% official just yet, but it is 99.999% likely that the Warriors will be the 10 seed, which kind of gives them a little bit of a freedom at this point. Obviously, you're not going out there and you're trying to lose basketball games. You're trying, but at the same time, you're not necessarily dead set on having to win every single game the rest of the way. You kind of have a little bit of a freedom to say, all right, Steph and KP, we're We're going to try to get you guys in the action together. We're going to test how this works. We're going to build a little bit of a rhythm, and we're going to try to use that to maybe win a play-in game or two. And as the 808 wrote on the Boxer and Gerson Work Injury Attorneys text line, there's some confidence that if you can get that kind of rhythm going into the play-in, that's how good Steph is. I think you saw how good Draymond can be working as the distributor off of all the Steph chaos. I mean, Draymond today had 12 assists and just 1 turnover. That's like peak Draymond on the offensive side. It's when he is capitalizing off the double teams and the traps that Houston is setting for Steph near half court. You dump it off to Draymond. Draymond drives towards the paint, draws the defense, who's already, on a 4-on or a 3-on-5, 3-on-4 situation because they double team Steph at half court. He dribbles in and then dumps it off to the correct guy for either an open corner 3 or an open layup. If it's GP2 cutting to the hoop, whatever the case is, that's where Draymond's at his best as well. And you can pair that with the Porzingis, who maybe in these next 3 or 4 games gets used to playing alongside Steph. And then you got maybe something cooking for the play-in, whether it's the Clippers, whether it's the Trailblazers, and maybe you get out of that, and maybe you go into a series versus OKC, and you have to get through 2 play-in games, of course. But the first one is either going to be the Clippers or Portland, and then the second one is going to be the loser of that 7-8 game, which we don't yet know exactly, of course, who's even going to be in that game, because it's going to depend on what happens with the Clippers and the Blazers, who are currently tied for both the 8 and the 9 spot right now. So we'll see how it all goes. But there is, I think, a spot for the Warriors in these next 4 to not have to be crazy about winning and losing, but to be working on certain things, to be building good habits, and to getting into a rhythm to get ready for that play-in game. I know Steph did talk about this a little bit post-game, so let's hear from Steph Curry. He addressed the media post-game. He's the first to talk after games. And he talked for quite a while, about 10 minutes post-game or so. So let's hear from Steph Curry as he addresses the media for the first time after playing a NBA basketball game in more than 2 months. Last game, January 30th, here at home versus Detroit. He said yesterday he expected to be out for a week to 10 days. It's been more than 9 weeks since Steph Curry last played an NBA basketball game, and he spoke postgame after 29 points in 26 minutes, 11 of 21 from the field and 5 of 10 from downtown. Here's Steph Curry postgame.
How'd you feel?
I felt good. Some good nerves going into it, and obviously coming off the bench, you're trying to pace yourself physically, mentally to get ready for your runs. And first run was tough. Second run was great. Second quarter, once I got my feet underneath me. And obviously the momentum carried all the work you put in rehab to get through even 26 minutes at that level. I was very grateful for sure.
I was going to say, it felt like the rust definitely shook off as the game went on. How much rust do you feel like is still there right now?
It's not as much rust as it's the endurance. Honestly, you kind of picking and choosing a little bit of your spots to maintain. It's not like you're going 100 miles an hour the whole time and just feeling it out. But, after I traveled and got my shot blocked the first 2 possessions, I kind of settled in nice. You do all the training and scrimmages and all that type stuff. It's more just getting back familiar with the speed of the game, the physicality, and just embracing it. And that's how the game kind of unfolded for me.
Steph, how did you feel you and Kristaps fit together in your time on the court?
I thought we have a lot more to prove out there. I know he was in foul trouble all night. But there were a couple of possessions. They tried to blitz me, get somebody in the pocket. KP's space on the floor. Defense has to make a decision. So more of those reps will be great for not just me and him, but for all of us to continue to build chemistry. Like I said, he had foul trouble, so there wasn't much of a rhythm for him tonight. But that group that we had down the stretch, it felt like old times. Just reading the defense. They react to me on the perimeter. GP's going to the bucket. Draymond's finding guys, getting guys in the pocket. It was awesome. Tough finish, obviously, but I like the way that we finished the game.
You took 20 shots in 26 minutes. I mean, did you come in wanting to, try to shoot yourself into a rhythm?
I actually had no expectations. Other than knowing Houston and their style of play, style of defense, and knowing kind of where I'd be able to find some good looks. The first quarter was really just, if I saw any daylight, just shoot it and see what happens. And then you kind of started to get a little bit more meticulous with each possession. But, when you have fresh legs, it's kind of easy to get going, knowing that you only have 6-minute stretch. You can kind of, take full advantage of those minutes, shots included.
You have, what type of condensed week you have before the play-in. What do you want to accomplish over the next 3 games maybe you'll play? And how quickly are you trying to get your minutes back to, play-in level, whatever you'll be in the play-in?
I think I'd say you've got to be smart and do the right things for the right reasons. And I'm sure the next game will look very similar to this one. And then you kind of continue to assess how you feel moving forward and make, again, the right decision. So all I'm looking forward to is Tuesday. Probably be the same kind of flow and rhythm. And hopefully it's, more of the same, and then we kind of take it from there.
So, Steph, what was it like being able to play with Steph tonight out there?
Oh, man. That was special. And we've both had a very difficult year. Honestly, him more than me with injuries, and I was joking calling us the rehab brothers because it's been like that all year. But to have that moment coming out of a timeout and talking about our matchups, and I was having flashbacks to Charlotte Christian high school, my senior year, his sophomore year was the last time in an actual game. I know he was on our training camp roster in 2013, but last time we actually played a game together. My mom was in the stands. She probably didn't have any more memory in her phone from taking all the pictures and videos. So it was, that was a dream come true, to be honest. It hadn't really sunk in yet, except when I came out the locker room just now. Seth is very serious about taking this jersey I have on me. So I knew he'll take good care of it for sure.
Did it bring you back even further than high school, bring you back to the backyard? And just when do you think that it will sink in, when you guys can bring back the memories years from now?
All of our basketball journey from growing up watching my pops play, and I think there's this video of us in Toronto when we were up there shooting around on the court as kids. Like, basketball's been a part of our whole lives, and it's what we love to do. And the fact that, at this stage of both of our careers that we've had this opportunity, even though this is game 77 and it's the first time actually playing together, you definitely take a moment to reflect for sure. And when it is all said and done down the road, I'm sure we'll put the pictures up from the night and talk about it.
Steph, did you figure there would be no time out there after their made basket and just kind of just go? Yeah,
we didn't have a play call because we thought we were going to get a stop, but the usual kind of reaction there is to try to get, they had Sengun out there, was to try to get him in a pick and roll and see what they were going to do, but everything kind of got a little stagnant at the top of the key. I haven't watched the possession to see where there might have been a better option, but it seemed like there was a wall at the three-point line, and I couldn't figure out exactly where to go. But there's no regrets. There's, you like the matchup with, their lineup out there, thinking that you can get a good shot with whatever it was, 11, 12 seconds left. So, tough finish for sure. But proud of the way we fought down the stretch.
And would you consider this meaningful basketball?
We're building towards it. We have 2 meaningful games, hopefully, down the stretch, but this is meaningful basketball in the sense of preparing ourselves for that moment. It's not like we can just sleepwalk through these last 4 games and not focus on details that'll help us win a do-or-die game and then do it again. So, yes, you can kind of feel it in the arena, too. There's a different vibe tonight.
How did it feel to go toe-to-toe with Kevin Durant, especially at this point in your guys' careers?
You know, it's a competitor like that, all-time great like that. You go, back and forth, and you're inspired by his level. I'm sure the same, vice versa. And we obviously have great memories together as teammates, but just it's still crazy we're doing it, at this level, still at this, stage of our careers. And he's 2 years ahead of me, so I don't know any other words other than just kind of a gratitude of, you still have the, battles ahead that, greats we look forward to.
Steph, I'm sure you don't take anything for granted, obviously, at this point in your career, but after 27 games, take me through the emotions of the day. You came out, felt like you were kind of like a prize fighter in the pregame and getting ready, and then just the emotions of the Jumbotron, and then hitting some buckets and pulling out a shimmy shake, too.
It's Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday. This has been a special day to reflect and appreciate, again, what I get to do every day on a daily basis, the gifts God's given me to be healthy, fight through this rehab stint and be able to get back to, the court and enjoy myself. There were a lot of nerves all day. My family supported me at home, and I was a nervous wreck, trying to pass the hours before I got to the arena. But, once you get back into your routine, you've been doing it for so long, muscle memory takes over, the adrenaline takes over, and I appreciate the fans and the reception and just the buzz that was in the arena, because, that's what at a certain point you won't be able to tap into that. So I'm very grateful. It was a beautiful day, and now I can kind of settle into how we're going to finish, the year.
Steph, you kind of just mentioned the vibe of the arena with everyone out there, the fans being excited, but then also when you think about having to watch the last 27 games, with your team being out there, did it feel different, like a different type of performance put out there on the floor? I mean, the team talked about the fact that when you come back, it's easier to play. Did it feel like that? Did it seem like that? The game kind of go in that way?
I mean, yes and no. Like, one thing I didn't want was just because I'm out there, it to be like an AAU game where everybody's just running around trying to get me the ball. Like, we need to play, sound, solid, disciplined basketball, and I felt like we got into that. And again, we were down, I think it was double digits in the fourth quarter, and to battle back like that, that's you tapping into that will to win, even though we didn't get it done. That's been the hardest part of this last 2 months. So there's games where, the game is hanging in the balance, and sometimes we struggle to score or struggle to close games, and you feel kind of helpless in that vibe. So, and it's not just me, it's everybody. Like I was talking about that group that finished, we were in unison. It was kind of beautiful to watch and beautiful to be a part of, even for us to have a 1 point lead with less than 20 seconds left. So the crowd was kind of feeding off of that.
All right, there's Steph Curry post-game after he returned for the first time in more than 2 months, scored 29 points in 26 minutes, made 5 threes. And, I mean, I guess the best way to describe Steph's performance today was he looked like Steph. And that's the best compliment you can give him, because Steph is otherworldly, and Steph tonight was otherworldly, especially considering that he hadn't played again since January 30th. I also think the answer to the question that Tim Kawakami asked him post-game of, is this meaningful basketball, which is the phrase that he has said numerous times in this late stage of his career. He wants to be playing meaningful basketball. Doesn't necessarily mean, going to the finals or going to the Western Finals, but he wants to be playing meaningful basketball, which I think, to me, in interpreting what Steph means by that, it is, fighting for the right to play playoff basketball is meaningful to him. Now, there's different levels to meaningful. The lower end of meaningful is maybe a series versus the number 1 seed and the defending champion OKC Thunder. The higher end of meaningful is, Western Conference Finals or NBA Finals. But Steph was asked that question by Tim Kawakami, is this, and he said this specifically, right now, is this meaningful basketball? And Steph paused, thought about it, and said, we're building to that. So this itself, in Steph's mind, and I mean this by the end of the regular season, is not in a vacuum meaningful basketball, but his answer to that question essentially was, we're building towards meaningful basketball, and in order to play even more meaningful basketball, and by even more I mean beyond the play-in and into the postseason, this matters in helping your chances to do that. And he talked about building habits, getting into a rhythm, doing the right things, so that when they get to the play-in, they're feeling good about themselves, things are working, they're playing good basketball, and they have a better chance of beating the Clippers or beating the Blazers or whoever it is, advancing through that game, maybe then beating the Suns or whoever it is in that second play-in game, and maybe it helps your chances of stealing a game or two against OKC, or who the hell knows what could happen. But Steph's answer to the question is, in a vacuum, no, right now is not meaningful basketball, but what they can do right now can impact the kind of meaningful basketball they play down the road, which is absolutely right. Because you don't want to just go into the play-in, Steph not in a rhythm, having hardly at all played with Porzingis, not knowing, what your roles are, if you're Guy Santos or if you're Brandon Podziemski or whatever the case is. You want to use these games, and maybe there's only going to be 3 more for Steph in the regular season, because for the Warriors, you've got Sacramento on Tuesday, you've got the Lakers on Thursday, you got Sacramento again on Friday, and then you've got the Clippers on Sunday, a week from today. 4 games left over the course of the next 7 days, which means including tonight, 5 games in 8 days, including a back-to-back, which in all likelihood means Steph is not going to play in both those games, those back-to-back games, which is Thursday versus the Lakers here at home and then Friday in Sacramento. I would venture to guess he would play versus the Lakers at home and would miss the Sacramento game. That's just my read on the situation. We'll see how it all plays out when the time comes. But I feel very confident he's not going to play in both those games, which means at the most he's going to play in 3 of the final 4 games, which means he would get 4 regular season games in before the play-in tournament begins on Tuesday, 9 days from right now. So we'll see how that all plays out going forward. Okay, if you want to get your calls or your text in, do so now, 888-957-9570. Cam, I want you to get Steve Kerr ready if you don't just yet, because I want to hear from Steve Kerr as well. I know he gave a couple of updates post-game, including Al Horford. You're going to want to hear what Steve Kerr had to say post-game about Al Horford, plus, of course, a lot about Steph Curry and the way the team kind of feels now that Steph Curry is back. So let's hear from Steve Kerr, who addressed the media post-game tonight as the Dubs fall 117-116, but they did get Steph Curry back. He was great in this game with 29 points, and he's stealing, of course, all the headlines as he should. But Podziemski had himself a pretty good game with 18 points, 7 of 11 from the field. Did get scored on down low by Şengün. That's not Podziemski's fault. He was coming over to help from the weak side. That's probably more on Steve Kerr, frankly, for putting out there a pretty small lineup. I would have thought about Guy Santos. I would have thought about Charles Bassey. That defensive possession, if you felt like it hindered your ability to play offense, you did have a timeout that you could have used to then make offense-defense substitutions. I wonder if Steve Kerr was asked about those lineup decisions down the stretch. We'll hear from Steve Kerr, and then we'll wrap things up when we come back. But here is the Warriors head coach Steve Kerr after Steph's return and the Warriors lost to the Rockets 117-116. Here is Coach Kerr.
I mean, obviously, very different energy out there maybe than the last few games. What was it like to be on the sideline for the kind of the waiting for it, then to see him get out there and then see him do some things that we've seen Steph do?
You can just feel it. We're back in the mix. We're back in the fight with Steph, and that's a hell of a team. They've been really hot lately and fully healthy, and we took them down to the last shot, obviously. So. Felt good about the effort, the process. 10 turnovers, 34 assists. We played really well offensively. Just couldn't get that stop there at the end, but the guys were fantastic.
He had 20 shots, I think, in 26 minutes.
I'm sorry?
Steph had 20 shots in 26 minutes. You like it? It seems he's really trying to get back in rhythm.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a tougher defender in the league for him to have his first game against than Ahmed Thompson. So that's quite a test. Steph looked amazing. He's worked really hard for this. You can see, it doesn't take much for him to find his rhythm, and his rhythm is also our rhythm. All the off-ball stuff that we get as a result of his movement. We got a lot of easy layups. Gary got layups, a big one near the end, based on the attention to Steph. So he changes everything.
Was it a tough decision to bring him off the bench? I know it was probably about managing minutes, but.
Well, he and Rick talked about it, and the minutes. It was going to be 24. We went over a couple minutes. Obviously, but he just decided he didn't want to start and then sit for a long period of time. So he just said, let's play the last 6 minutes of each quarter. He and Rick made that decision, brought it to me, and fine with me. What we did was we moved our other rotations around a little bit. We wanted to get Draymond and Steph together for obvious reasons, so we changed some of the other rotations to fit Steph, but obviously this won't last for long. He'll be in the starting lineup soon, but I'm not sure when, just based on minutes.
Steve, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but the spacing with Steph back, just how does that change, I guess, not just for him, but just for the entire team in terms of...
Yeah, it changes dramatically. I mean, you pull a defender out, near half court on pick and rolls with Steph, and just opens up the middle of the floor. You saw Gary get so many lay-ins tonight. A lot of that was just him diving off pick and roll, Draymond finding him, Steph finding him. So he makes the game easier for everybody, for sure.
What did you want to see? What kind of action did you want to see executed on that final possession?
Well, we didn't want to take the timeout because we wanted to keep their defensive guys on the floor. Their that lineup on the floor. You take the timeout, they just put all their Dobermans in and switch everything, and it's really, really hard to get a good look. So I haven't seen a replay yet. My gut is our spacing wasn't great. I think I saw three guys on one side. We wanted to give Steph a high screen, pulling their weaker defenders in. And he got a decent look, but it's probably a good clip for us to have for, these last games and the play-in, just to go over that again. I mean, I never really like to take timeouts in that situation if there's time. I'd rather have the chaos that ensues and the matchups that you want. The process was what we wanted. I'm not sure we got spaced very well. I'll have to look at it.
And then they didn't get to share the court too much tonight, but how important is it for you guys, for Steph and Kristaps, to develop chemistry?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing with Kristaps is that he's a really easy guy to play with for anybody. He fit in immediately with our team as soon as he got here. I don't think it's going to take a long time for those guys to feel comfortable. It's, both guys space the floor. Both guys are really smart. They'll find each other. There's a couple of unique things that our team does, with Steph that he'll get used to quickly. But other than that, it's just basketball.
Speaking of Kristaps, 5 fouls in the third quarter and then fouled out pretty quickly in the fourth. What do you sort of see from him there with the foul trouble?
Well, Şengün, went inside, and we were trying to guard him single coverage, so he got a couple fouls there. There was one, I think it was his fourth foul early in the half. I think he grabbed Kevin on the rebound. That was the one that hurt, because if he doesn't commit that foul, he doesn't get into foul trouble, and we're okay. So he knows that was one he's got to let go. It was just a long rebound Kevin got, and he grabbed his arm for his fourth foul. 2 free throws for Kevin. So, Kristaps, it wasn't a great night for him, but Şengün's really tough matchup. And we got, another one in 2 days, so Kristaps will be right back out there.
Steve, you talked right off the top about the belief you were back in the fight with Steph. Can you just further explain the how palpable it feels with Steph and how he can kind of change the belief and the mood that you guys feel like?
Well, you can just hear it, right? And you can hear it with the crowd. And there's a different energy in the building. And there's a different confidence with our team. He just infuses the whole team with confidence. And, again, being able to play off of him makes the game much easier for everyone else. So there's just a momentum and a confidence. And, he's Steph Curry for a reason.
Going 11 deep tonight, I mean, how crucial is this last week here to fine-tune, rotations and combinations going into the play-in?
Yeah, well, we're hoping to get Al back. We'll see. He's not going to play Tuesday, but, these next few days we'll ramp up his workouts and, maybe some 3-on-3. And if we could get him back, for a couple of games just for some rhythm and rotation stuff, then that'll be helpful. Cool. Thanks.
All right, that's Steve Kerr post-game after the Warriors fall 117-116 to the Rockets. But Steph Curry returned and scored 29 points, 11 of 21 from the field, 5 of 10 from downtown. Important update there near the very end on Al Horford. Steve Kerr did say that he's going to ramp up his workouts the next few days in hopes of getting him back late in the week. Ahead of the play-in, and this is the final week of the regular season. The Warriors, they're off tomorrow. They play Tuesday at home versus the Kings, then a back-to-back Thursday, Friday. Thursday at home versus the Lakers, who will be without Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. They're done for the rest of the regular season, and who knows, probably pretty deep into the postseason as well. Their season might, unfortunately for them, because they've had an awesome season, their season might have just vanished in the blink of an eye with a couple of injuries here late in the regular season. But that's the opponent Thursday at home, then Friday in Sacramento, and then Sunday, a week from tonight, in LA versus the Clippers. A week from this moment, the regular season across the entire NBA will be over. The Warriors will then play on Tuesday in the play-in tournament. If they win that game, they advance. If they lose, their season is over. So we'll see how it all plays out. But the Warriors don't have a whole lot of time left. So when they say they hope to get Al Horford back late next week probably means you hope to get him back for one or maybe two, but probably just one regular season game ahead of the play-in. Al, of course, hasn't missed 2+ months like Steph Curry has, so maybe not as necessary for him to build a rhythm up. He's also not nearly as vital and doesn't have the ball in his hands nearly as much as Steph does, so easier for him to kind of get back to his normal ways than for Steph without playing in a lot of regular season games ahead of a play-in game. But you do, of course, would much rather prefer to get Al Horford back before just dropping him straight into a play-in game coming off of that calf issue. So we will see there. Also interesting what Steve Kerr said, just, you can feel it. He said, we're back in the fight. We're in the mix. Steph just changes all of that. Our rhythm is Steph's rhythm, is what he said. And then also the decision to not call a timeout down the stretch kind of was the answer that I think we all expect, and it often works out in the Warriors' favor. I don't have an issue without calling a timeout there. It didn't work out in this moment. The big issue that I have is that defensive possession, because you went out there. I know a lot of people will say 4 guards. If you call GP2 a guard, yeah, because you got Curry, Podziemski, Melton, and GP2, then Draymond, that is almost as small as the Warriors could possibly be, and you're going up against 3 7-footers on the other end. So that is not an easy matchup defensively. I would have probably leaned more into the defensive stop, and then if you felt like the defensive personnel you put out there on the floor, whether it's Guy Santos or Charles Bassey or whoever it is, you then, if you feel like that's going to impact your ability to get a look on the other end, then you call a timeout to bring your best offensive players in. But as Steve Kerr said, you also don't want to let them bring in all their best defensive players as well. So it is the give and take. And those two decisions are related, because if you just play it out and you say, all right, let's just say we give up a bucket, what gives us the best chance to score on the other end? It is by not calling a timeout and having Houston scramble defensively. But you win the game if you get a stop. So I think you got to lean in what you think gives you the best chance to get a stop, and you deal with everything else post defensive possession once you get to that bridge, right? You cross that bridge when you get there, and the Warriors never got there because they did not get that stop. But we'll see how it all plays out. Going forward, I think in the future the Warriors will not call timeouts, but maybe they do go a little offense-defense down the stretch of basketball games, particularly against big teams, if they were to meet someone like that in the postseason. But Warriors ultimately lose. Steph did return, and he got through it healthy. We'll see how he feels tomorrow, right? There's no guarantee that maybe he's not going to be feeling a little bit. I mean, I'm sure he's going to feel some soreness. It's natural when you're off, as long as he has been, and you can simulate stuff in scrimmages and all that. And he's playing against some of the coaching staff and some other players that are not like high-level NBA guys. What he just went through over the course of 26 minutes of play, it's going to leave him, I'm sure, sore tomorrow. But we'll see how he looks come Tuesday with the Kings in town here at Chase Center. Okay, that's going to do it for Warriors Wrap-Up tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in as the Dubs fall 117-116. Again, coming up next, Kings on Tuesday, Lakers on Thursday, both those games at home, and then a back-to-back the next night on Friday in Sacramento, and then in L.A. versus the Clippers a week from tonight on Sunday to close the regular season. And again, important to note, the Warriors cannot catch the Blazers. They will not catch the Blazers this regular season. They have officially locked up at best the 9, at worst the 10, and when I say at best the 9, put an asterisk there, because there's a 99.99% chance they will not be the 9 if the Clippers win one of their final 4 games or the Warriors lose one of their final 4 games. Either of those things happening, the Clippers will finish ahead of the Warriors as well. So it is all but official. The Warriors will be the 10. If you're holding out any hope, I would recommend getting rid of that hope, because you're only going to set yourself up for disappointment. The Warriors will be the 10 seed. They know that. Everyone in that building knows it. In this building, I should say, knows it. The task at hand in the final 4 games is just get Steph as ready as possible for the play-in game and hope that he can lead you, along with some help from others, into a postseason series. All right. That's going to do it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks to all the interactions on the YouTube chat, on the Boxer and Gerson Work Injury Attorneys text line, on the phone lines as well. I see you 213 that chimed in a bit ago. I wanted to sign off with this. The 213 writes, Mark Grandy is the Alperen Şengün of 95-7 the game. What do you mean? A really good young player who's going to the playoffs again? I'll take it. I know a lot of us don't like Şengün, and that was definitely meant as a shot at me. I appreciate it, 213. Alperen Şengün is a hell of a basketball player, and I'm going to take that as a compliment. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. We will talk coming up next time. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Is it still Sunday? Just barely. Have a great rest of your Easter. We'll talk next time right here on 95.7 The Game.
The problem with radio is we can't show you our new box packed with a KFC snacker, 5 nuggets, fries, and a drink for just $7. So you'll just have to trust us when we say the crispy golden fried breading will make your mouth water. You'll have to trust us when we say this is a ridiculous amount of chicken for such a small price. And you'll